And we're live from Stockholm, Sweden, with a report from the last round of the Rilton Cup. And congratulations, America and Elshan Moradiabadi for winning the tournament. And of course, the runner-up with the same number of points, Arseny Nesterov. Fantastic. Let's check what happened in the last round so you can see that, as I predicted, there was a draw and it was very quick, and it was enough for Elshan to win the tournament. Then we had the other two boards with the 6-pointers, and Arseny Nesterov was the only one who managed to win and then catch up in the number of points with Elshan. But Elshan had the better tiebreakers. Tiger, he drew his game. It was a bit shaky, but in the end, it worked out. And then, of course, we had some good results for Sweden on the lower boards. We had Martin Lokander, who won against Ionov Sergey, and Drazen Drasegovic, who have had an amazing tournament. Won his game against Lars Oskar Hauge. So today we are gonna have a little look at the game that Arseny won against Nikita, and we're also gonna have a look at Drazen's game. But before that, we're gonna just see the complete standings. So here you can see Elshan is on top, Arseny is second, and then we have Dmitry Kollars on top, or the one leading all of the players with 6.5 points. And then we have 3 Swedish players actually sharing third place, which is very good. Well done. So we're gonna analyze the game, and then at the end, after we have analyzed, we're also gonna see all the players who got a norm of any kind. That is what's gonna wrap up the whole tournament. I bet you're all very interested in that. So let's start with the games. And here we have Nesterov against Meshkovs. And as usual, we're gonna fast forward a bit in the opening. So Nikita grabbed this pawn on c4 and then tries to hold on to it for the rest of the game, more or less. And by doing so, he also has to break up his pawns on the king side, because he cannot take back with the queen because the bishop is hanging on d7. So we finally reach a position like this one, and White has managed to put block this pawn on a7, still a pawn down, but this rook on a6 is doing more work than blocking this one. It's actually giving a lot of firepower along the 6th rank, especially against this pawn on f6. But there is currently a pawn in the way, but we will see what happens to that one. And then, of course, this queen is able to give some checks during this on this open line, and also perhaps eyeing something on these pawns that are standing on black squares. So Nikita decided to try to defend these pawns with his king. Good to have the king working as well, so it doesn't stand around doing nothing. And now Arseny decided to maneuver his bishop, which perhaps was a little bit slow, but a very natural idea to try to get it to c2, attack this knight, or perhaps even eyeing on these squares if you can remove the knight with g4. There might have been an opportunity here to play e4, mainly because now currently this pawn is protected by the pawn on c3. The c3 pawn is about to get attacked by e4, which is black's main counterplay, creating a pass pawn here and also activating this rook, the b file. But what could have happened, for example, is maybe you could play something like this and then trying to break open the 6th rank, attack the pawn on f6. But let's see what happens in the game. Bishop b1, b4, c takes, rook takes, and bishop c2. And Nikita didn't like that this knight could be traded off. So knight e7, perhaps eyeing on this square or this square. This square looks very natural because then you're closing this file. Queen g3 check, king h8. I think there might have been, if you go here, maybe you're a bit afraid of h4. Maybe that was actually better than playing king h8, because now white found this move. So the rook is protected by the queen, now attacking the black queen that needs to find a safe square. And you probably need to block the check on d8, which looks a bit scary, but actually the knight is protecting. Oh well. This looked natural, and keeping some control over the 8th rank and also enforcing this pawn while protecting the rook. Perhaps that is the main idea, because if you're not protecting the rook, maybe white has some idea on taking on e6 and taking the rook. Alright, so queen f4, attacking some pawns again. King g7, protecting. And now this pawn break, d5. And what's the idea? Well, if you take with the pawn, I think the idea is to take this one. And it seems like black's position is collapsing. So, and then of course I think you're threatening to take this pawn, which would weaken the king even more. And now black decided to take with the knight, and here white checked, king h8, and then white played e4, attacking the knight, trying to get it to move. And then black decided to attack the bishop. So now white decided to play bishop a4, leaving this diagonal. And this was actually not the best move. The best move was probably take the knight, take here, and then take on e6. And there are many variations here where black can try to defend, but white actually has a completely winning advantage. Just needs to find it, which is not easy. But in this line that white chose, there's actually quite straightforward line for black to not get worse. It's with c3, takes on d5, c2, takes on c2, takes with this rook, which is very important. So you're starting to get some threats on of your own on this file. Take on e6, preventing any back rank checkmate, so you can bring the rook back. Take here, and now black is threatening to take here. For example, if white plays this position is now fine for black, because there are perpetual checks, and probably you can grab this pawn even, maybe try something, but it should be a draw. And I think this was the only chance for black, because what happened now with queen g8 that was played, white took the piece and then managed to block this pawn on c2, attacking it with both the bishop and the rook. and then bringing the king over, and after taking the c pawn, black is just has no threats, and white slowly took over the game and managed to find one way of winning. We can just see how here it ended, because now the f pawn is falling. So it was very good by Arseni. I think he found some like when Nikita decided to hold on to that pawn, he found good ways of utilizing that and the weakened king side, and also the rook on a6, the idea of playing d5. Very nice, and definitely deserved his runner-up spot. So let's take the other game. We need to show for the Swedish fans the game from Drazen, team captain of the Malmö Vikings, and who probably perhaps shouldn't say the tournament of his lifetime, but at least so far, I would guess. So we are skipping forward a bit, getting to a position that was really interesting, I thought, with queen, bishop e, and here rook f7, and white has quite a good position. There is pressure. This knight is very good. This bishop is a bit poor, and this king is of course weaker than this king. So what to do? So Drazen decided to just trying to bring in this rook in the attack as well, very natural. But here there was this amazing piece sacrifice. When I saw it, I couldn't believe it that it was good. I was like, there must be something wrong here, because it was this knight takes c7, which is just a positional sacrifice. You're giving up your beautiful knight on d5 for this pawn on c7. And what do you get? So what you do get after queen takes is e takes f5, and black cannot take back. You're protecting it with both the rook and the queen. So the bishop has to move. If you go to d7, you can go to d8 later, but you're currently closing off this file. So I think the preferred move is bishop c8, bishop e4, with a threat of or like eyeing this pawn with a threat f6, and then if bishop f6 blocking you, I believe it was, you start with g4, and now you can black needs to go e7 to try to attack this pawn, which makes g5 a little bit worse, but white can actually like just play this position and start improving pieces, and will eventually play g5. And I thought this was very, very beautiful. And of course there is also the square d5 for the pawn, for the bishop, and yeah, so I don't think I ever would have looked at this move even. But of course there were alternatives after this. You don't have to take it back. There's also f4, but then I think the best for white was to take this one, and then you take this back and you have a great position with some material. But yeah, let's see what Drazen did, because it was not bad. Just that knight takes c7 was could have been the move of the tournament. So black tries to counter the pressure on the f5 by also getting his rook into the defense. G take, let's see, f4, g takes f4. So here's a pawn sacrifice. by black, trying to get it to activate some pieces. Also the bishop along this diagonal. Knight e5. Perhaps looking to take this pawn sometime in the future. Knight takes e6. Taking away this light square bishop, making this one able to roam free on the light squares. Queen takes e6. Bishop h3. Queen e7 and bishop f5. Closing off the file for these rooks. And also attacking this pawn on h7. So bishop f6 and then bishop h6 attacking the rook, but also taking this square for this rook. So these rooks are really having a hard time currently, while these rooks have some chances to go to the g file. And also you can hide your king on h1 and get the other rook in as well. So rook a8, rook moved away, and then this beautiful move, bishop takes h7. And if you take with the king, I'm not sure if there's mate, but this looks certainly good enough. Picking up the queen. And then the rook takes, and then the bishop falls. And which is another good protector of the back position. And now it's this king is looking very lonely. There are no pawns in front of it, while this white king has a very nice hiding square here on h1. King h8, king h1, rook g8, h3, creating some possibility to also sometimes move the king to h2. And now this was a poisoned pawn that black took here on d3. And Drazen found this beautiful move, queen d5, attacking the knight and protecting the pawn. But there's also an additional threat that was not as easy to see. Knight e5, and now queen takes g8, sacrificing the queen. King has to take back, and then rook f8, forcing the queen to take, and then rook takes f8, checkmate. Very beautiful. Well done by Drazen. Amazing tournament, must say. So now let's go back to we can bring up chess results, I guess. Because we're gonna just mention who got the norms. So I hope everything is correct. I got this from the tournament director. So let me bring up my file here. So first, one Grandmaster norm was awarded to Arseny Nesterov, who does not have a single title currently, but now he got a Grandmaster norm. I think he had one from before, but I am not sure. And then we had a Finnish player, Toivo Keinanen, who took an IM norm. We have had another Finnish player, Pekka Kioka, who also took an IM norm. We have two Swedish IM norms, Milton Pansar and of course Drazen. Drazen was very close at making a GM norm, actually. It was not far off. Then from Norway we had Mats Vesby Ellingsen, also took an IM norm. From India, Ajay Krishna S, IM norm. And then we had a woman who took an IM norm, not an open IM norm, not a woman's IM norm, from Russia, Victoria Chereniak. And then the last norm was taken, a woman international norm was taken by Sashashri Choletti from India. Oh, and I got information from the chat from Tours42. Nesterov had an IM title, but it was still being registered or something like that. Thank you very much for informing me. I did not know. Wonderful. So 9 norms in the Rilton Cup this year. I think it was one less than last year, but we from the Nordic countries, Sweden 2 and Finland got 2, Norway 1. Should be very happy. Also Russia and India, of course, got 2 each. So thank you very much for following Rilton Cup and also participating for those who did that. Of course, this was the 49th edition. You can look forward to next edition, which will be the 50th. It will be at Scandic Continental, just as this year, and yeah, you can probably expect even more from that. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching, and yeah, welcome back to Stockholm next time.